and welcome to episode 37 of Swiss Army Sports. Today is January 22nd in the Big 26. I'm your host, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Osby Governors, and partially Houston Cougars, Will Spain. By my side, former offensive lineman for the Hendrix College Warriors, current man of electricity, Luke Wallman, and joined virtually former kicker for the Houston Christian Huskies and Troy Trojans, current nephew of Troy's men's basketball coach Scott Cross after a nice double overtime win against Old Dominion last night. Chase Cross, let's get right into it, boys. Let's take a look at the agenda. We got our NFL championship games, picks, and preview. Best bets for the NFL, which is totally not true because I did not even include that on the slides.
Panic there for a second.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on. Yeah, never mind. Not too much to bet on anyway, just two games. Picks for college basketball, January 23rd to the 25th. We have a little bit college basketball bracketology, risers and fallers, mid-major games to watch for the weekend, NBA recap over the 20th and 21st, as well as an NHL recap over the 20th and 21st. We also have a power ranking for those two respective leagues. UFC 324, first Paramount Plus pay-per-view, in quotation marks, pay-per-view, numbered event happening this Saturday. We give our picks and preview for that, and then who's hot and who's not. And I guess we didn't add it what Chase had.
We're really on top of it.
Yeah, we're big. We have our English Premier League picks and preview as well. So let me just go ahead and add that live to our slides. And let's talk the NFC Championship game, boys. The LA Rams are heading into Lumen Field to play the Seattle Seahawks. I'll kick us off. I got the Seahawks winning 38-28. I think the Seahawks are just the better team here. They're at home. You've got Sam Darnold. That's the big question mark for Seattle. Will he be able to perform in the big game? I think he's able to do enough with Jackson Smith and Jibba, Kenny Walker. Just an elite defense behind the Seahawks offense that has honestly been playing so well as of late. I just don't think LA is going to have enough in their third game of the postseason against Seattle to get it done. Again, 38-28. Luke, you're with me. You're riding with the Hawks.
Yeah, I think defense wins championships, and this Seahawks defense is really freaking good. I see it being a little more low scoring than the last time they met in that absolute thriller, because during that 4 or 5 stretch of games, Sam Darnold was playing out of his mind. So he's obviously cooled off. So I got Seattle winning 24-21. Close one.
Close one. Chase, what do you think?
I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I think that this game is going to be high scoring again. There's been fireworks both times these teams played. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I actually am going to go with the Rams here, and I'll tell you why. It's just the fact that Matthew Stafford's been there, done that. He's gotten to a Super Bowl and won it already with the Rams. I see him doing it again. And Sam Darnold, he didn't really have to do too much last week. The game was already won. The first play of the game, it was already won. So, I wasn't overly impressed with him. They're missing Zach Charbonnet, which they do have a really good two-headed monster in the backfield going there. And I think the Rams, they've won 2 games on the road. Why not make it a third and get to the Super Bowl? So I think the Rams win this one, but it's going to be very close. So I have 38-35. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I do like Matt Stafford and that Rams team to take it home. But I think this game is going to be really, really close.
Producer Michael also has the Rams 27-20 as we now pivot to the AFC, where the New England Patriots head to Mile High and play the Broncos. I've got the Patriots 21-17. I just think missing Bo Nix, I don't think Stiddy's going to be able to get the job done in his playoff start this season. This New England defense has done absolutely unbelievable in their front seven. They've been getting elite pressure on the quarterback. I don't think Denver's offense, even with Bo Nix, is anything spectacular. They have an elite defense, but I think the defense is just going to be out there for way too long in this game. I foresee a lot of 3-and-outs, especially in the first half. So I think New England's going to get a healthy halftime lead and just kind of coast to a Super Bowl berth against Denver. Luke, you disagree?
Yeah, you talk about New England's defense with pressure. They've played probably 2 of the worst offensive lines in all the NFL, in my opinion, with the Chargers and the Texans. And I think this is going to be a low-scoring defensive battle. And now we talk about Bo Nix and Jared Stidham. Obviously, y'all don't think Bo Nix is super high. Now, if Sean Payton, if this first free agency signing is going to be a backup quarterback, the dude's got to be something. And I think this Denver defense is going to have an absolute legacy game. And I think Stidham's going to do enough, and that's why it's only 17-14. I think Drake May's going to turn the ball over. He's been a turnover machine this playoff. He's been fumbling the ball a bunch. I think that kind of continues with this elite Denver defense, and they can sneak out a win.
Chase, who you rolling with?
I disagree. Everybody's very high on this Denver team, and to be honest, I mean, yes, they've won the close games, the one-score games all season, but I've not watched them. I haven't turned games on and I'm like, wow, this team wows me in any facet of the game. They're not incredibly explosive on offense. They do have a good defense, but their offense is nothing to write home about. I mean, we saw them play the Jets close. Let's be real. And they put up like 10 points against the Jets or something like that earlier in the year. And I know it's playoff football time, but I mean, it took 5 turnovers from the Bills for them, to lose to this Broncos team at home with Bo Nix. They're missing Bo Nix now. This is a Patriots team that beat that Bills team, and I don't think Drake May turns the ball over 5 times like the Bills did. And, you can say arguably at the end of the game, the Bills should have won because, I mean, I think that was a catch. So I don't even think the Broncos really deserve to be here now with a backup quarterback back. I don't think the level drops too much, but I think this Patriots team's really good. I love Mike Vrabel. I think he's a better coach than Sean Payton. And a lot of people will disagree, but I do think Vrabel's a better coach than Sean Payton. People would die from Mike Vrabel on that field. So I think the Patriots win this pretty handedly and they get back into the Super Bowl.
The producer has the Patriots 31-14. Luke, you have something to say?
Yeah, people will die for Vrabel, and Sean Payton just tries to kill people.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, that is factual. I mean, I will say this: I'm a massive Sean Payton hater. The last thing I'd want to see is him win a Super Bowl with a backup where everybody gives him his flowers. But hey, we'll see.
College basketball picks this week. We're going to kick it off. I mean, there was really no action to talk about on Friday, so we're immediately moving to Saturday with North Carolina in a really tough ACC spot on the road against Virginia. We are Virginia across the board here. This is a Carolina team that's really been faltering as of late as they've gotten into conference play. I mean, Virginia can score this year, which is unbelievable, 84 points per game, and they've also kept playing good defense with 67.1 points against. I just think this defense for Virginia is going to keep North Carolina at bay, who has really struggled, especially on the road, and I think the Hoos get a good ACC win. Luke, why do you like the Hoos?
Yeah, I think the difference in this game, obviously Carolina's talent is there, but Hubert Davis, me and Chase have alluded to this before on this podcast, holds them back so much. And I think it's going to be a close game, and he's just going to do something stupid, whether it's not call a timeout, draw up a terrible out-of-bounds play. He's going to make some sort of coaching falter, and I think Virginia's going to be able to win this game in home, and you're going to see Carolina fans start possibly calling for the head.
Chase, why do you like the Hoos?
Completely agree with both of y'all, actually, with both of y'all's points. One, North Carolina's been horrendous on the road, losing to teams that they shouldn't be losing to. Two, I don't think Hubert Davis is that good of a coach, so I think this is probably more about North Carolina being poor on the road than it is about Virginia. I do like this Virginia team. They do win. They put up points. They play good defense. They're a team that I think is maybe a little bit of a dark horse to make a run in March Madness. I've been very impressed with what Virginia's done and with their first year head coach. Now, we'll see what North Carolina does because this is still a talented roster, but I think Virginia gets it done at home this game.
Heading to the Big Ten, Illinois heads on the road to West Lafayette, Indiana, and plays the Purdue Boilermakers. We are all on Purdue. I just think Purdue has to get right after losing on the road to UCLA. This is a really good Purdue team. They're pretty even on, in terms of metrics. Illinois even rebounds a little bit better, but Purdue moves the ball around so well, averaging 6 more assists per game. They turn teams over. I just like Purdue, and this could be a gritty win for Purdue. I don't think this is a blowout by any stretch of the means, but I do think Purdue's going to be able to get the job done at home. Luke, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I agree. I think Purdue's going to get the job done at home because I think Mackey is probably the toughest, at least top 3, if not the toughest place to play in the country. You interview all sorts of coaches, and they all say Mackey Arena is the toughest place to go play and win a game on the road. And which I've watched, obviously, Michigan play there multiple times, and that is 1,000% the case. The students are insane. But I think this is going to be a very good game, and I think Purdue's going to win by like 5 or something and just get back on track.
Chase, why do you like the Boilermakers?
Well, I wanted to pick Illinois in this game because I really like what Illinois has done over the last couple weeks, and I'm not as high on Purdue as I am some of these other top teams in the country. But with Kylan Boswell being out now with a fractured hand for at least a month, he's Illinois' second leading scorer. I think Purdue just has a little bit too much for Illinois to overcome. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to lose one of your top two or three guys. I mean, having to depend on somebody else who's not really scoring the rock as much. So I do think Purdue wins this one, and they're at home. So, Mackey Arena is going to be popping for a top. I mean, I think this will be probably a top 12 matchup when it's all said and done. So this is one of the best matchups of the next couple days. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Up next, we head to the MAAC in a big conference matchup. 8-1 in the conference. St. Peter's, the Peacocks, are going to Merrimack to face the Warriors, who are 8-2 in the conference. I had to side with the home team here, as we all did. Going with Merrimack, they've looked pretty good in conference so far. Big road win against Marist by 13. They did lose at St. Peter's by 13, and that's kind of why I'm kind of like hedging this. These are the two best teams in the conference this year. So I think they're going to do a home and home split. One player I do want to highlight is Kaveri Kennedy. He's going to have to be able to score in this game, 15 plus at least, if Merrimack wants a hope of winning this. But I do think they'll be able to get the job done strictly because Merrimack's going to play just a little bit better defensively, although watch out for offensive boards by St. Peter's. If St. Peter's is able to dominate the offensive rebounding, then the Peacocks probably get it done, but I'm going to have to run with Merrimack just because they're at home. Luke, why do you like the Warriors?
Oh, same reason. Merrimack's at home. Merrimack's only lost 2 games this year at their home arena. Now, granted, they started the year playing like the Auburns, the Floridas, and all that, but like against pretty equal competition, they tend to win at home. And like you said, they've already lost St. Peter's. I don't think you travel well, especially with these mid-major conferences. I think they get it done this weekend.
Chase, why do you like Merrimack?
Like I've said with all my other picks, it is hard for mid majors to travel and win on the road. I mean, we saw that. Will knows you both know watching that game last night against Old Dominion, one of the bottom feeders in the Sun Belt, and Troy struggles. I mean, Troy's been dominating everybody, but it's hard to travel on the road. It's hard for these mid majors because a lot of them, they're busing most of these trips. They're not getting to fly like these big programs are. That being said, too, it is hard to beat a good team twice. And St. Peter's already won at home. Merrimack is equally as good as St. Peter's. I mean, these two teams, it's going to be a fun battle to see who actually makes the tournament out of this conference. But I do think Merrimack gets the victory at home.
Heading to the Mountain West in a big Mountain West matchup, San Diego State, the Aztecs, 7-1 in the conference, are heading to Las Vegas to play the UNLV Rebels, who are 5-2. First off, very fun venue, the Thomas and Mag Center in Las Vegas. I've been to the Mountain West Conference tournament when it was there. It was really fun to go see that happen. I'm riding with San Diego State here. One, I saw them get a absolutely gritty road win last night. I think this is a team against Grand Canyon who's been playing very well as of late.
They actually lost to Grand Canyon last night.
Did they lose?
70
Yeah,
to 69.
remember they lose by 1.
Yeah.
Lost by 1. Oh, did you see how it happened? I forgot. I had a bad beat on this. They called a phantom foul with like 1 second left, sent Grand Canyon to the line. They hit 2 free throws. Yeah, they won that game. In my mind, San Diego State got robbed. I mean, this has been a really good team, especially on the road. They've been able to win in tough places like Nevada. Utah, UNLV beat Utah State on the road last time out. I think that's just about as good as UNLV can play. I don't think they'll be able to do that twice in a row. So I'm going to take the better team here in my eyes in San Diego State. Chase, I'll let you piggyback first, and then Luke. Chase, you also like the Aztecs.
Well, San Diego State's the best team in the Mountain West, in my opinion. Obviously they slipped up last night, but that's by 1 point. You're gonna lose some conference games. They're not gonna lose 2 in a row. I think they're gonna beat UNLV, and I think it's gonna be pretty handedly. This San Diego State team is really good. And I foresee them to probably end up being maybe probably a 5 seed, I'd say, in March Madness. But I'm really high on the San Diego State team. Now I do think UNLV will probably press early, but the San Diego State team, they can play really good defense and they can score when needed as well.
Hey, not good enough to beat those Trojans though.
Nope.
Hell
no,
no,
they're not.
Luke, you run with the Running Rebels.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to roll with Josh Pastner, old Memphis
Old
Tiger
Tiger coach. Old Tiger.
But I mean, they've been playing well. They beat Utah State last time out. Now, granted, they played one of their better games, but that's a confidence booster. You had to go to Utah State, who
Tough environment.
is a
Tough
tough
environment.
environment. I mean, that is like I've said this before. That is a
Bucket list.
dream bucket
Bucket
list
list.
place to go watch them play because that crowd is so electric. It's so loud. I mean, there's all sorts of stories about how well they travel to as a fan base. It's a great fan base. But you go into Utah State and beat them by 10, I think you can squeak some magic out because, granted, I think San Diego State's the best team in the Mountain West. But we're going to see some faltering at some point. They're not going to win every game. And I think they drop one here to UNLV.
Biggest game of the weekend we have up next in the Big 12. The Houston Cougars, number 6 team in the country, 17-1, 5-0 in the Big 12, are traveling to Texas Tech in Lubbock to face the Red Raiders, 15-4, 5-1 in the conference. I am eating this one all up, especially since Texas Tech lost at Houston by 4. It was a great game. Give me the Cougs. Are you kidding me? Emmanuel Sharp, Kingston Flemings. This team is loaded. This Houston team has looked its best as soon as it got into conference play. Let me read off some of these score lines for you. Yeah, 4-point win against Tech, but last 3 times out, 22-point win against Baylor on the road. A 29-point win at home against West Virginia, and a 30-point win at home against Arizona State. Kelvin Sampson ball is at its best at Big 12 conference play, and the Cougars are not dropping this one to, I think, an all-around-the-board inferior Texas Tech team. Neither of y'all agree with me. The producer's with me. He's with the Cougs. So I'll let Luke kick it off then, Chase. Why are the Raiders getting it done at home?
Because I think Texas Tech has been playing some of their best basketball as of late. After they lost to Houston by 4, which you're going to Houston, I mean, and you're only losing by 4, I think that's a good contest because now they've got to come play at your place. But you beat Colorado, which is iffy. Handle Utah, who has been a covering machine. They covered against Utah. They beat BYU by 13. They handle Baylor. You're rolling in. You've got Houston coming to town. I think JT Toppin is going to go absolutely stupid, and I think his traveling ass is going to carry Texas Tech to a win.
Chase, why do you like the Red Raiders going against your hometown, man? And your current university, may I add. I'm just kidding. He sent me that as a joke one time.
I mean, technically, I'm not. I'm actually probably going to end up going to Tech here. But anyways, that's another story for another time. But no, Houston, this is going against my hometown. I have loved what the Cougars have done this year. They are one of my favorite teams to watch, a Kelvin Sampson team. To be honest, I want to pick them here, but you have to lose 1 or 2 games in conference, and this is a really tough one to play. This is a rivalry game in the Big 12 now. They're the best 2 Texas schools in the conference for football, basketball, baseball. It is turning into a huge rivalry, Houston versus Texas Tech. Houston has played phenomenally this season. They are red hot right now. It is so hard to pick against this team, but I love what Texas Tech is doing. They have 2 legit scoring options that, they're phenomenal. JT Toppin, obviously everybody already knows about him, but Christian Anderson has been scoring the rock well. He is a lights out shooter, can create his own jump shot. It's really good. And I think they will struggle against this Houston defense, but I do think home court advantage does play a factor, and Texas Tech's fans are some of the best in the country. Considering that they kept the game at Houston close, I think that Texas Tech gets it done. But I'm very nervous about this pick. Like, honestly, I could see it going either way.
Heading back out west for our next one, where Luke, Chase, and the producer are all on the Tritons of San Diego, UC San Diego. I went with the Anteaters of UC Irvine. They've had back-to-back road games. This is their 3rd in a row. They have lost and by a combined total of 4 on these 2 road games. They are not going to lose 3 in a row. They're 5-2 in the Big West, 4-3 for UCSD. I want to talk about Urian Dixon. He's going to be an absolute baller for the Anteaters as he heads into San Diego, and they are going to propel themselves to a win. And I think the big tell in this story will be how does San Diego shoot the 3 ball. Last time out that I watched personally was about 2 weeks ago. They did not shoot it well. It is kind of like if they shoot the 3 well, they're going to win. If they don't, they won't. I think Irvine will be able to limit the 3-point opportunities for UCSD and get a huge road win in the Big West for UCI. Luke, then Chase, why are you going with the Tritons?
I think it's a big thing with these mid-major teams is home teams usually win the game. And like you said, three ball is going to be a huge factor. UC San Diego does score more than UC Irvine does, but like you said, if they're not making threes, they're kind of screwed. They've been 3-2 in their last 5, mainly losing at home, which is I don't think a trend will continue. But I got UC San Diego winning this at home.
Chase, what about you, man?
Again, I'll piggyback. That's the same reason I'm going with the home team here, and I do think even though UC San Diego has faltered a little bit in Big West play, I do still think they're a top team in the conference. I mean, if you look at their record being 14-5, this is a really good basketball team. However, UC Irvine has obviously played really good over the last couple weeks, but it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to win away games as a mid-major. So I'm going to go with UCSD here.
Finally, we're in the Missouri Valley Conference. Illinois State playing Belmont. I think Belmont is way too good at home here. It's an elite 3-point shooting team. It's going to be a very ruckus atmosphere in Nashville, barring snow. So we will get to see a good game between, I think, 2 of the top contenders here in the Missouri Valley Conference. Kind of the same reasoning as y'all, though. They're all on Belmont here. They're a home team that shoots the 3-ball well, and I think they'll be able to get the job done. Quick, Luke, then Chase. Why Belmont?
Yeah, they're home. They shoot the 3. That's like what I looked at on KenPom. Give me Belmont.
Chase.
Same. Shoot the 3 really well. Home team. There's no question they get the win here.
Great analysis.
It
right
is.
there, boys.
Amen. We'll see. Little bracketology. Risers and fallers. In terms of automatic qualifying, yes, but also at large. So I'm going to kick us off by talking about our fallers, and I've got a bone to pick with these 3, and I'm going to actually kick it off with USC. You can't lose to Northwestern at home. It's
their best players hurt.
Chad Baker-Mazara also fouled out
their best player averaging 18.
3 minutes into the second half.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was just I watched this game. It was just such a poor effort. It was just such a poor effort from USC. That's why they are falling on my board. I don't care if your best player's out. This is a very poor Northwestern team that had to go all the way out to Southern California to play this game and got a 6-point win on the road. Vanderbilt, man. I mean, it's the SEC conference play has really started to catch up to them. 3 losses in a row to Texas, Florida, and Arkansas. Granted, 3 solid teams, but I don't think you can drop those 3 in a row if you're Vandy. You got to get things back on the right track before they start to snowball. Because, again, we were all really high on this Vanderbilt team. Now they've kind of faltered to, like, the 4 seed area in my mind. When this team was like a 2 seed in my mind literally last week. So Vanderbilt definitely needs to get back on the right track of things. And then Mississippi State. This is a team I thought could be a sleeper in the Power 4 conference. This team sucks. It pains me to say that. Josh Hubbard is the only breath of life this team has, and even he sometimes is not a breath of life. The defense is so atrocious. I do not even know what I am watching sometimes. Yeah, it's been a rough go for Mississippi State after a really promising start to the conference slate, beating Oklahoma and Texas. Keeping in the SEC with my risers, dude, Kentucky is just stringing off wins 4 in a row, especially at LSU, at Tennessee, and at home against Texas. I know this isn't as good as a Kentucky team as we thought it was going to be, especially with how expensive their roster is. However, I do think it's important that they are winning these games that they probably should win the SEC, and their stock in terms of seeding in the NCAA tournament has risen for me ever since they've gone on this 4-game stretch. Now let's talk about 2 mid-majors here. First, we're going to start with South Liberty. 16-3, guys, and let me count the amount of games they've won in a row. 10 in a row at Western Kentucky, at Dayton, for me to really highlight there. This is a Liberty team that, we have seen in the past, same coaching staff, excel in March. I don't know if they're to that level yet, but I do think they're starting to flirt with the 13-12 seed in the tournament, which is like prime for upsets. And then out of the West Coast Conference, the second best team in that conference behind Gonzaga is the St. Mary's Gales. 18-3, they play elite defense. I have never seen a team play so well on defense. Santa Clara is kind of rivaling for that second place spot, in which they dropped that game at Santa Clara. But 30-point win at home against Oregon State, 14-point win on the road against 14 a really good San Francisco team that we've seen compete with, beating Mississippi State and almost beat Memphis. So those are my risers: St. Mary's, Liberty, and Kentucky. And my fallers are State, USC, and Vanderbilt. Luke, talk to me about yours.
So my risers, obviously, no particular order, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no
go with
particular order to these,
yeah.
by the way.
I'm gonna go with Winthrop for my kind of mid-major riser. I honestly thought High Point was gonna run this conference. They're Winthrop 6-1 in the conference with a win over High Point. And they've been playing really good basketball. They've been shooting the ball well. This was kind of a shock to me. I really thought High Point was gonna run this. So they're one of my risers. Then I got Virginia. Nobody thought Virginia at this point would still have only 2 losses. They got a big test with Carolina this week. They beat Louisville at Louisville this past week. I mean, they've been playing great basketball. Then Texas Tech. They've got 4 wins in a row. You beat BYU by 13.
Yeah.
You beat Baylor by 20. I mean, you're going to roll into Houston and hope to keep that momentum going and potentially rival for a top 3 seed. Then my fallers. I'll go with North Carolina first. I mean, you can't lose that West Coast road trip. I mean, Cal has been solid. They've both been solid teams, but you're North Carolina. Now, granted, you beat Notre Dame by 25 or something, but you're North Carolina. You can't drop those games, and they're probably going to falter again when they go to Virginia this week. And Carolina fans at the beginning of the season were like, oh, we're going to be a 4-5 seed. You might look at a 6 to 7 seed potentially on how many games you lose in the ACC conference, because the ACC conference is better than what we've seen in the past years. So, and then talk about Seton Hall. I mean, you had all the momentum running your way, and then you lost 3 games in a row. You lost to UConn and St. John's, which is okay, but you lose to Butler.
Tough loss.
I mean, you can't lose to Butler. And I mean, you've been shooting the ball abysmally lately. So that is why they're another faller. And then Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State started off the year
Red hot.
And they're 2-4 in conference play. I mean, they have been playing terrible as of late. You lost to TCU, you lost to Baylor, Iowa State. You only beat Kansas State by 1, who Kansas State is terrible. But they've been playing a lot worse as of late. And I think with how loaded the Big 12 is, it's only going to get worse from here. So they're my final faller. So my risers are going to be Winthrop, Virginia, and Texas Tech. My fallers are going to be North Carolina, Seton Hall, and Oklahoma State.
Chase, all power 4 for you, brother. Talk to us about your risers and fallers.
Yes, I stayed primarily in the Power 4 because, I feel like for the most part, we know what mid-major teams are going to be the auto bids this year, and then the other half of it is most mid-major and low major Division 1 teams are going to be those automatic qualifiers. So I'm going to go with the ones that everybody's been talking about. Obviously, Houston has been playing great basketball. I mean, you knew that this team was uber talented and they were going to get really hot at some point. They've won 11 in a row, have been absolutely dominant in the Big 12. I mean, it's really looks like it's going to be a 2-horse race. Maybe Texas Tech could make it interesting in there, but really looks like it's a 2-horse race for that conference between Houston and Arizona. But Houston is playing some of the best basketball in the country right now in terms of their defense, and they actually have offensive production this year, which is very different from previous Houston teams. And then Florida, another massive riser. Florida has played phenomenal over the last couple of weeks after starting the season really slow. They've gotten, I think, 4 ranked wins, 6 in a row right now, 6 wins in a row. They are red hot in the SEC. And then Texas A&M, a team that continues to surprise everybody across the country. Granted, they haven't played anybody, but they are 15-4 at this point. Buckyball seems to be working down there in College Station, and they're at the top of the SEC still. So that is definitely crazy. And then for my fallers, we're gonna start off with Texas. Texas got a big win against Vanderbilt, and you're starting to look around and say, maybe is this Sean Miller team legit? No, they lose back-to-back games, continue to play poor basketball. They're 11-8 down the stretch. I mean, I think they have one of the highest foul rates in the country, just in terms of just giving up fouls. I mean, they're undisciplined and really not what you kind of expect from a Texas basketball program. That's always in the mix to make the tournament. And then Indiana, a team that was top 25 earlier this season, is now fallen off the map. They are 3-5 in Big Ten play. 3-5. They are struggling heavily. I don't really know what's going on. It's good that they won in football because basketball is not looking great. And then Louisville, I mean, they're threatening to fall out of the top 25 the way they've been playing. I believe they're 3-3 in ACC play right now. They just can't beat good teams, and that's really concerning. If you watched Louisville earlier in the season, you thought this team could maybe, be in the mix to challenge for, a top seed or, make a little run in March Madness, and they're having trouble beating good teams right now. So definitely would be concerned if I'm a Cards fan. But my risers: Houston, Florida, and Texas A&M, and then my fallers are Texas, Indiana, and Louisville.
Mid-major games to watch for. New Orleans and McNeese State in the Southland Conference is my game to watch for on Saturday. McNeese, obviously leading the conference, only has one loss, but New Orleans has been a team that we have seen be very scrappy all year, a team that can play good teams close. And McNeese is a good team, but interstate matchup, I think this is a very exciting one to watch if you're into mid-major basketball. I think New Orleans could possibly get an upset here, which is why I have it on my list. So New Orleans at McNeese State for my mid-major game to watch. Luke, you actually picked the other one I was flip-flopping between, so talk to me about it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with VCU at Davidson in the A10 conference, which is one of the premier mid-major conferences in all college basketball. They're both 4-2 in the conference. VCU is 13-6. Davidson's 12-6. This is basically for fourth place and going to keep you really alive in this A10 because of the 6-0 starts from George Mason and St. Louis. And I think it's going to be a great game. Both teams shoot the ball very well. And I've not actually watched Davidson play this year. I've watched VCU play, so I'm excited to tune into this. So,
Chase, talk to me about your matchup.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that that y'all didn't pick this. I got Utah Valley versus Cal Baptist out there in the WAC, and this game is actually for first place in the WAC right here. Both teams have played very well or at the top of the WAC, and this game kind of decides who takes the top of that conference. UT Arlington's in the mix as well, but these two teams are probably the two best teams in the conference. So this game will most likely decide who gets that first bid in the WAC conference tournament.
NBA recap for this previous Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday and Wednesday, excuse me. The Suns got a big road win against the 76ers, 116-110. Bulls get the job done against the Clippers at home. Rockets beat the Spurs. Jazz beat the Wolves. Lakers over the Nuggets. Raptors over the Warriors. And Heat over the Kings. On Wednesday, the Hawks got a surprising road win against the Grizzlies by 2. The Cavaliers got a win over the Hornets. Finally back on the winning side of things. Celtics got a home win against the Pacers. Knicks over the Nets in an absolute blowout. The Pistons beat the Pelicans. Thunder over the Bucks, and then Raptors stringing together some wins as they go into Sacramento and beat the Kings. So that just kind of segments us into our NBA power rankings. I went with the Pistons, just kind of be different. They are technically the hottest team in the NBA right now. They've won 4 in a row. They only have 2 more losses than the Oklahoma Thunder. And granted, yeah, the East is much weaker than the West. Don't get me wrong. But this Pistons team with Cade Cunningham, with who's the rookie? Enlighten me.
oh my God.
Yeah.
No, so their core is Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Ron Holland. Oh my God, I'm blanking on somebody.
I know.
It's the
somebody. Rookie.
Hold on. I'm pulling it up.
I completely mind blanked.
They got Asar Thompson too.
Oh yeah.
Jenkins is who it is. Dennis Jenkins.
Yeah, Dennis Jenkins.
I think maybe
he's been playing unbelievable. Yeah. The Detroit Pistons have just been a coherent unit. And then the Thunder are my 2. Again, best team in the West by far still. But they have been faltering as of late, and I think that deserves them to get bumped to the 2. The Spurs are going to stay consistently at 3. This is the 3rd best team in the NBA, 2nd best in the West. Wembanyama has been an absolute alien out there on the court. It's a team that's gelled very well offensively with such a young core. Very excited to see what the San Antonio Spurs team can do in the playoffs. And then the Rockets, man, the Rockets have strung together some wins. KD and the boys are starting to look decent in Houston. And then the five with Jalen Green coming back. I mean, it's the hottest team in the NBA, really. If we were doing just a strictly recency bias power rankings, this would probably be number one for me. But they are five in terms of my NBA power rankings. I mean, Devin Booker and Jalen Green, Mark Williams. I mean, this team is finally something I can root for as a Suns fan and feel good about the product they're putting out on the court. And it was a very low expectation year for us this year. So I'm very excited what I'm seeing out of this Phoenix Suns team. Luke, talk to me about your top five.
Yeah, Thunder, I think even with the Jalen Williams hamstring injury, I still think they are one of the best teams in the NBA. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts since he's only missed 2 games so far. Then I'm going to go with the Pistons, and the only reason they're second is because the East is the least. I mean, the East is so much worse than the West is, so they're going to be my number two. And the Spurs. The Spurs guard depth is actually really underrated. You've got uh, their De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and then you got off the bench Dylan Harper, who's a rookie. I mean, they've got some great guard play combined with Keldon Johnson, another forward off the bench, and then Wembanyama. I mean, if Wemby can stay healthy, which that's kind of been his issue in the NBA so far, the Spurs are very dangerous. Then at four, I got the Suns. Like you said, they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. Dylan Brooks is having a career year
Hey,
from
bro.
a scoring point. And I still love Dylan Brooks. I still love the man. But he's having a career where he's playing great. You obviously got Booker, who's your closer. It's going to be interesting to see when Jalen Green comes back because,
He is back.
well, like,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah. I
comes
got what you're
back
saying.
more and all that stuff. So, and then I got the Celtics at five. Jaylen Brown is playing at an MVP level and is looking like the superstar, which they obviously won't move on from Tatum, but you wouldn't be so mad because you have him averaging, I think he's averaging 27 or something. I mean, he's playing out of his mind in the MVP race, especially with Jokic going down. So they're my number five.
Chase, power rankings.
I think it's pretty clear that the Thunder are still the best team in the NBA. I hate saying it because I don't like their brand of basketball, but they've won a lot this year. They're going to struggle a little bit with Williams being out, but I still think this is a really good Thunder team that will continue to produce wins. Pistons are at two. Like y'all said, they are arguably one of the hottest teams in basketball right now, but that also is because this is probably the worst Eastern Conference I think I've ever seen in my entire like lifetime watching basketball. This is the worst Eastern Conference I've ever seen. But Detroit Pistons are a really good team. They continue to win. They have a really good young core. Now let's see what they can do in the playoffs. I love this Spurs team though. They're there for me at three. If Wemby stays healthy, this could be a finals team. I'm saying it right here in January. If Wemby's healthy, they have so much depth on in all areas of the court. Great guard play. They've got a mix between old and young talent, experience and youth. They have the perfect storm down there in San Antonio. Um, you just got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, they can like that is one of the best most well-run organizations in basketball, if not all of sports. So I've got Spurs at three, and then I've got actually the Lakers at four. I went with a different approach for my power rankings. I just went off my top five, the teams that I thought were the best. And when you have Luka Doncic on your team who's averaging over 33 points, you have to put him in a top five. I mean, Luka is having this. This should be his MVP year. Now that Jokic has gone down, he has played outstanding. When Austin Reeves comes back for this Lakers team, I fully expect him to go on a run. LeBron's actually looked pretty good. He's actually playing defense for the first time, I think, in the last 5 years. So this Lakers team is going to continue. They had a little tough stretch there last week, but I think they're going to go on a little run here, pick up a couple wins because they've been looking pretty good over the last couple weeks. And then I've got the Rockets here at five. Um, this Rockets team is very well built. They definitely need a point guard, but I mean when you have the height and the defense that they have, headlined by a guy like Kevin Durant still scoring the rock at 37, 38 years of age. I mean, this Rockets team is very good. Amin Thompson, Alperen Şengün, they've been absolutely great for the Rockets this year. And you know what? they may go out and get a point guard, I'm hearing. So, we'll have to see what happens, but definitely excited about the Rockets.
NHL recap for Tuesday and Wednesday. We had the Canadians get a home win against the Wild. Sabres beat the Preds on the road. The Devils had an absolutely unbelievable goaltending um, appearance from Jake Allen. They got a 2-1 win over the Oilers. Lightning beat the Sharks. Sens over the Blue Jackets. Stars get right against the Bruins. Jets continue their winning ways against the Blues. The Kings beat the Rangers. No surprise. On Wednesday, the Red Wings beat the Maple Leafs in a shootout. The Ducks beat the Avalanche on the road. The Mammoth beat the Flyers in overtime. Pens beat the Flames on the road. Kraken over the Islanders. And Canucks getting a home win against the Washington Capitals. So that takes us to our NHL power rankings. I knew we were going to be pretty consistent at 1 and 2 across the board. One is absolutely the Colorado Avalanche. I know they lost. They also had 45 shots on goal. So Dostal played unbelievable for Anaheim. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Valery Nichushkin. This Mackenzie Blackwood in goal. I mean, this team is unbelievable. They have been absolutely dominant in this regular season so far in the West, and they by and far are the best team in the NHL. Two are the Lightning. Vasilevsky's been playing out of his mind. This is a team that has really started to gel, especially in their D core. They have been able to limit the shots in their opponents, blocking a bunch of shots. I really like how the Lightning are playing, as I do my number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes, the two teams I think that are best in the East. And Carolina has just been able to score with Sebastian Aho. Martin H. Excuse me, he's for the Avalanche now. It's just been an unbelievable run for Carolina. But, two kind of surprising teams. If at the beginning of the year, did I think they'd be in the top 5 power ranking for me? I would have said no. Would be 4 the Detroit Red Wings and 5 the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, first with Detroit, this is a team that I did not have high expectations for this year. But Patrick Kane has got these boys going under his leadership, and I think Detroit could really make a strong push in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And then 5 Montreal. I mean, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield is playing out of his brain, should be on the Olympic team. Montembeau has been a little bit of a struggle in net, but Jakob Dobes has been playing well. I think this is a Montreal team that is poised for one of those teams that could make a deeper run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. However, I think the goaltending could get them at the end, which is why they're at 5 and not 4. But I am still in love with this Montreal team, and those are my power rankings. Luke, just brush through these NHL power rankings. Tell you got in your top 5.
Avalanche, obviously number 1. I'm looking at this. They've got a plus 77 goal differential.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
That is insane. And then my number 2 team is going to be the Lightning. They're 9-0-1 in their last 10 with a plus 49 goal differential, which is also pretty freaking high compared to everybody else. Then I got the Red Wings at 3. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-2-1. They're playing really good hockey right now from when I was looking at the record. Then I got the Hurricanes at 4. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10, and they got a really good goal differential. And then even though the Golden Knights don't have the greatest record, they're 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they're ahead of the Pacific Division, so they're going to round out my top 5.
They have jumped ahead of the Oilers and the Ducks. Chase, talk to me about your top 5.
Well, the Avalanche have easily this season been the best team in all of hockey. I mean, McKinnon, Makar, Nikas, I mean, they have been putting up points. I want to just leave this here. McKinnon has 85 points.
Yeah, he's
85 points. That is unreal. That is, I mean, just absolutely astounding. They've been playing some great hockey this entire year. They're far and away the best team in the NHL, but I do think the Lightning are pushing them for a close second right now. I really like what Kucherov has been doing for the Lightning. He's on 73 points for the season, so not too far behind McKinnon, which is really good. And then Gunsel's been really good as well for the Lightning. This is a really good Tampa Bay team that I do think will end up being there in the end. They are on 49 plus 49 goal differential, which is far less than, the Avalanche's 77, but that is still a massive goal differential. And they have 9 wins in their last 10, that's just unbelievable form. And then at 3, I'm with you, Will. I've really fallen in love with this Canadiens team, and they probably are a little bit too high. They won't stay this high for the rest of the season, but I just love the fact that Montreal's good again, and it takes Canadian hockey, you just always want one team, whether it's Edmonton, Montreal, Vancouver is horrendous this year, but you want one team in it. Hockey's better when
Canadians are good.
When Canadian teams are better. And like I said, Suzuki and Hudson have been honestly really, really good for
Yeah, Lane Hudson
for
has been
Montreal. So
ever since he's been in the league has been
really good.
unbelievable in the defense, especially as a scoring
Un,
defenseman.
un, oh, 100%. Like, I mean, I would say, I mean, maybe you might counter me on this, but I think he's the best scoring defenseman in the league.
Um,
I don't know if that,
yeah, I would say
I mean, he's
Cale
up there.
McCarr would definitely have something to say about that. But I
Yeah,
mean,
McCarr, well, yeah,
giving his
yeah,
youth, give him 5 years, he'll be absolutely by and far the Norris Trophy winner, probably 3 years in a row. But so I somewhat agree with your take, but I mean, Cale McCarr is, I mean, he's still Cale McCarr.
I agree. And then, like you said, the Red Wings, everybody, I don't think anybody had the Red Wings this high, this late in the season, but they've been playing some good hockey, winners of 3 in a row. So I've got them here at 4. And then, I wanted to be a little different than y'all. The Hurricanes probably deserved the spot here. Carolina's been really good, but I actually think the Dallas Stars, even though they haven't played great over the last couple weeks, are still a really talented hockey team. They've obviously faltered over the last 2 or so weeks, but they are still absolutely loaded. They're one of the best teams. I think Rantanen has been, I mean, he's been great. And then obviously Robertson has been a mainstay for the Stars team for a long time. And then one of my favorite defensemen, I played with him on Shell for 4 years now, but Heiskanen has been, I mean, one of the best defenders in the league for the Stars as well. So I really do still like this Stars team. I think Jake Ottinger is a good playoff goalie. So we'll have to see what happens, but I do think Dallas will be in the mix at the end in the Western Conference, and I do think it'll be probably being between the Avalanche and the Oilers and the Stars at the end. Maybe the Golden Knights could make a push, but I think the Western Conference is very wide open, and then I think the East, you're probably looking at Tampa Bay probably pushing to make the Stanley Cup. But we'll have to see what goes down over the next couple weeks.
100%. As we pivot now to UFC 324, it is an absolute loaded card, even with the Kayla Harrison fight falling out due to her injury to her neck. Let's start us off with the prelims. Umar Nurmagomedov against Davison Figueiredo. 19-1 for Umar, 25-5-1 for Figgy, both coming off a win. Yeah, I don't care. This is Umar. And I'm going to go by decision. I don't think Figgy gets finished, but I think this is going to be one of those atypical Dagestani just clinics, boring, prelim fight to where Nurmagomedov gets the win. I hate these UFC names sometimes. But yeah, I'm going with Umar. Luke, you're going with Umar as well.
Yeah. That's why I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. But Umar, I mean, he lands more strikes a minute. He grapples better. And he's also a minus 1,400 favorite. So I think that's a pretty good odds right there for him to come out with a win.
Chase, going with Umar as well.
Just send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget. I mean, I'm going to go with Umar here in this one too. I think, he's obviously the betting favorite. Vegas doesn't give that high of odds to somebody if they don't trust it. So I'm going to go with Umar here in this one too.
All right, we go to our main card now. Arnold Allen fighting nerd Bulldog Gene Silva. He barks a lot. So if he wins that post-fight interview, should be a lot of barking. Dude, and I think he does. I know he's coming off a loss. I think he wins by knockout, though. I mean, we're landing 6 strikes at 4.8 per minute. Granted, we do absorb quite a few, but Allen throws significantly less. Allen could try to take to the ground, which I think is going to play in to Silva's favor, and he's going to be able to counter his grappling, keep it on the feet, and get a knockout victory for Gene Silva. Y'all don't agree with me. Luke, you're going with Arnold Allen.
Yeah, I'm going with Allen because I think the strikes absorbed is just way too much for Silva. And, I mean, that's going to be somewhere. If you're getting punched in the face a whole bunch, that's going to take you down. And granted, he does hit a lot of his shots, but Allen also has a better defense at 61%. So, I honestly think this is probably going to go to decision, and that is going to be in Allen's favor. So, give me Allen.
Chase went with Allen as well.
I agree. I think that this is going to be a decision. I think this is one of the closest fights on the card here. I don't know. In this one, I'm honestly going with my gut here. you're looking at the stats, and Silva probably stands out a little bit more considering, his significant strike accuracy and everything like that. But there's just something about Southpaws that I love, and I'm gonna go with the Englishman Arnold Allen here.
Women's flyweight bout coming up next on the main card. Natalia Silva against Rose Namajunas. 19-5-1 for Silva. Namajunas 15-7-0. I've got Silva by TKO here, probably in the second round. She just throws way more significant strikes than Namajunas, 5.04 to 3.16. Namajunas also absorbs more, so I think it should be an onslaught from Silva. Get probably past the first round, but I could see this ending in the second round in TKO for Silva in the flyweight division for us, the women. Luke and Chase, y'all both agree with me. Luke,
Yeah,
first.
no. I'm going to go with Silva. Obviously, I do want to shout out Rose's barber. It's great haircut, but Silva just hits way harder than Rose's, and she lands at a way more prolific rate, and I think it's just going to be a bloodbath.
Chase.
I'm in complete agreement. I mean, she has a 5.04 significant strike landed per minute. Her significant strike accuracy is 5% higher. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a knockout in the first or second round. I think, and age does have a factor, I think, more in the women's side of MMA than men's. Silva does have a 5-year age advantage, being only 28 to Rose's 33 years old. So I went Silva here.
Next up is a very exciting fight. Waldo Cortez Acosta coming out of the Dominican Republic, favored against our boy Derek Lewis. We're Derek Lewis across the board, and I'm gonna go D-Lou by knockout simply because this dude has just been knocking dudes out lately, and I want to see a D-Lou winning press conference. So I'm going with Derek Lewis. Waldo Cortez Acosta is absolutely dangerous, but screw it, we ball. Derek Lewis by knockout. Luke, you agree?
Oh, yeah. I am not picking Derek Lewis. This man's a national treasure. Even before I got into the NBA or
UFC.
the UFC. Oh, yeah, the UFC. I knew who this man was. My balls are hot. Where's Ronda Rousey at?
Balls are hot.
I mean, this guy is awesome. Knocks people out at an 83% rate too. That is absurd. I'm hoping we get some heavyweight dudes just absolutely throwing this weekend. So give me Derek Lewis.
Chase, you went with D-Lou.
Yeah, I don't know how you can follow up. Why'd you take your pants off? My balls were hot. But, I'd love to see him do something this weekend. And there's no way I'm picking against Derek Lewis. He's one of my favorite athletes in any sport. He's hilarious. This guy is, I mean, obviously a dog in the ring, but is also hilarious. I'd love to see him get another win. And like Will said, he's been knocking people out. So I'd love to see him get another one.
Co-main event, and I'm very excited this is the co-main actually. Sugar Sean O'Malley fighting against Song Yadong. 18-3 for O'Malley, 1 no contest. Song Yadong 22-8-1, coming off a win, loss for O'Malley. Look, O'Malley's got a 5-inch reach. I've got him winning by knockout here. Song Yadong's a good fighter. I just think Sugar Sean has been. He needs a win so desperately to keep relevant in the bantamweight division that I think this is honestly a desperation win, and I think it'll become kind of reckless in the ring, and Sean O'Malley will benefit from that and get a knockout win against Song Yadong. Chase, I'll let you go first because you also have Sugar.
Yeah, I think the reach is what makes the difference here. 1 to 2 inches is not significant, but 5-inch reach is definitely significant. And I do think Sugar Sean coming off a loss, it is going to be a chaotic fight, which I do think plays to his, to his strengths. So I do think Sugar gets it done, even though I'm a little hesitant to pick him, but I think he gets it done.
Song Yadong, Luke.
Now, my UFC knowledge obviously got a lot better. I am only picking this dude, though, because of his name. This is the funniest name I think I've seen in the UFC. Song Yadong. I mean, that's all I got to say.
Finally, our main event for the lightweight interim title. Justin Gaethje against Paddy the Baddie Pimblett. We are Paddy the Baddie across the board, and I think he gets it done by submission in round 3. I think it's going to probably stay mostly on his feet for the first 2 rounds, but Paddy's got such a tough chin. I don't think Gaethje's be able to rock him at all. Paddy's going to be able to go to the ground. Gaethje is terrible at grappling. He's going to get submitted in round 3. We'll just say Paddy by submission. Luke, you like Paddy?
Yeah, no, I think the ground game is definitely going to take into effect. And isn't Gaethje really old?
Yeah, he's aging.
Yeah. So I think age also has a big factor in it with the difference between him and Pimblett. And I mean, his intro is awesome. Scousers don't get knocked out.
I'll just don't get knocked
So
out.
give me Patty Pimblett.
Chase.
They actually had Patty on the Champions League show on Tuesday. He looks great. He looks ready to go. He's locked in. I think Gaethje's aging, and I think this is going to be a significant victory for Patty and kind of catapult him back into that top tier status where maybe he gets a title fight here in the next couple years. We'll see, but
Oh no, the
definitely one
winner
of
of
my
this
favorite
fight is
fighters.
fighting.
You think it'll be?
No,
You think
yeah,
it will?
Ilya Topuria has come out and said in April the winner of this fight will be fighting Ilya Topuria.
Yeah, so we're gonna get a nice
Well, even
rivalry.
better.
Yeah,
So I mean,
and
he's
they
gonna
hate
get
each
a fight
other.
here soon. I don't know if he beats Taporia, but I do think he beats Gaethje.
He sleeps Topuria.
As you've seen, I mean,
Okay.
Taporia is
Yeah.
insane,
I
but
said it.
I love. I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. Taporia is one
Yeah.
of the best fighters that we've seen in a while. I don't know if he gets it done against Taporia, but I love Patty the Batty. I think he gets it done this week.
Yeah, this is my favorite UFC fighter, guys. If you can't tell. So moving on to the English Premier League, let's kick it off with Saturday's early matchup between West Ham United and Sunderland. Luke, you're on West Ham. Not going to ask for any analysis, but me and
Nope.
my boy Chase over here are on Sunderland. First off, West Ham is awful. And second off, Sunderland beat them 3-0 last time out. Their form is okay. 2-1 and 2-2-1 in their last 5 games, but a big win against Crystal Palace and a win over Everton in the FA Cup. I think Sunderland keeps it rolling here against West Ham. What do you think, Chaser?
Completely agree. I think this is more about West Ham being shocking this year than it is about, Sunderland. West Ham is absolutely atrocious. Sunderland has actually been playing better as of late after a pretty poor run of form, but they're unbeaten in 4 of their last 5, so I think they'll at least escape with 1 point, but I do think they get the one here. And they do beat West Ham.
Up next, we have Tottenham against Burnley. Me and Luke are on Tottenham. I think Tottenham has just been so poor as of late. They are so due for a win, and Burnley is not a good team. So I think the Spurs get it done here on the road. Chase, you going with a draw here?
Well, Burnley's been able to tie a bunch of top 6 clubs. They drew with Liverpool, they drew with Manchester United. I think they continue that streak. They're going to draw with Tottenham as well. Tottenham has been absolutely atrocious in the Premier League this year. They are killing it in the UCL and the Champions League. All their focus is on Europe right now. They have no shot at really getting back into the Champions League unless they win. So I think they are completely all in on Europe. And I do think that this one will end up being a draw because Burnley hasn't played that bad. So we'll have to see what happens.
Up next, we got Fulham against Brighton. I'm going with a draw here, as is everybody else. I think these are just 2 very even clubs. I think it'll be a very exciting game, 1-1 with a lot of chances, but I think it's just going to stay at 1-1 for a draw. Chaser, you agree?
I completely agree with the whole analysis. 1-1 is the most Fulham Brighton game ever. Both of these teams are actually 11th and 12th consecutively in the table. So, I mean, Fulham's been drawing a lot. So has Brighton. Brighton has 3 draws in their last 5. Fulham has 2 draws in their last 5. 1-1 draw just screams out in this game.
Wolves hosting Man City. I almost went with a draw here, to be honest with you, but we all 3 went with Man City. And so I'm going to go on the absolute polar opposite of that. Man City has a lot of energy. The energy of anger they need to release in this game against a very poor Wolves side who has played well as of late. 4-0 Man City. I think they kind of try to send a message to the rest of the Premier League that, yeah, we may have faltered against a poor side in the Champions League. We may have faltered last time out in the Prem against Man United, but we are here to stay, and they're going to try to send a message. 4-0 Man City. Chase, what do you think?
Completely agree. Shocking result. It's obviously hard to travel all the way up to Norway against Bodo Glimt, but you lose Rodri, who's been a mainstay in their midfield, to a red card just on the stupid foul. I don't really know. He's not played the best this season, but they did just add Mark Gahey. I do think he will play minutes against Wolves. He's had some time to acclimatize, and I think he's going to get some minutes. They'll shore up their defense. Holland, you're not gonna. I mean, Holland hasn't scored in the last 6 games. He's gonna get on the score sheet. I almost feel bad for Wolves here in this spot because I mean this is a terrible time to play Man City after the last 2 performances that they had. Man City is just gonna absolutely throttle them, and I don't see it any other way in this game.
Ending up on our Saturday slate, Liverpool against Bournemouth. Luke went with a draw. Me and Chase are on Liverpool. I mean, they looked really great in their Champions League bout against Marseille last time out. Drew with Burnley, but I think this is a Liverpool team that gets on the right side of things here in the Premier League with a 2-0 win against a very below average Bournemouth side. So give me Liverpool. Chase, what do you think?
Well, Bournemouth has, you know, tremendously struggled since they've lost Tyler Adams to injury. The U.S. men's national team player. I mean, he was great for them to start the year. Bournemouth was in the top 6. They've fallen off a cliff. Liverpool has also drawn the last 4 games in the Prem. I don't foresee that continuing. That's a really, I mean, you either lose or win one at some point, and I don't think this is the game that they lose. Bournemouth just hasn't had much going forward, and they can't stop chances. I mean, they have allowed 41 goals, which is third most this season in the Prem. They can't stop anything. So I do think with Liverpool's attack playing a lot better over the last couple of weeks, I do think Liverpool wins. I think it'll be 2-1 or 2-0 Liverpool.
And United on Sunday heading to Arsenal to face the Gunners. Luke went with a draw. I think Arsenal gets it done here. I mean, this is a really good Arsenal team. 3-1 last time out in the Champions League against Inter Milan. Drew against Nottingham Forest, but beat Chelsea by 1. And Arsenal drew as well in the Premier League with Liverpool. So I think they're going to be on the right side of things here at home against a Man United team that has looked better as of late, but I think they kind of cool off a little bit here with a 2-1 loss to Arsenal. Chase, you're home in a little bit here. You're going with United.
Oh, I'm 100% homing here, but I have reasons to back it up. Michael Carrick last week absolutely dominated Man City. Arsenal has had trouble breaking down a low block or a mid block. They have had trouble winning games when they are on the front foot. And Manchester United, as we saw last week, can play games on the back foot. Man City had 70% possession and had only one shot on target for 90 minutes. Now, I do think Arsenal is a better team this season than Man City, but they've had the same issues. They can't break down these teams, and Manchester United is deadly on the counterattack. Bruno Fernandes has been playing at an unreal level, and Manchester United are getting their players back, which they opened the season this year against Arsenal and absolutely took it to them, dominated Arsenal. I don't think that Arsenal is going to really threaten with their front line. They may get a set piece goal like we've seen in the past, but you have to realize Arsenal played Manchester United when Manchester United was playing a backup goalkeeper with Ruben Amorim playing a 5-back, and Manchester United outplayed Arsenal. It's hard to, when you're a Big Six club, it's hard to win back-to-back games against a team. It's like in everything, college basketball, every sport. It's hard to beat teams twice, especially big rivals like this. I think Manchester United goes into the Emirates and gets it done big. I think they win 3-1 against Arsenal.
Wow. Fair enough. We have Chelsea traveling to Crystal Palace. I think this is more about Crystal Palace than Chelsea. I think Chelsea gets a 1-0 win over Crystal Palace. Chase, you went with the draw.
I did. I think Chelsea has just been one of those weird teams this season. They tend to struggle with lesser competition, and especially coming up off a game in Europe. I do think that they will struggle with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace can't continue to keep dropping points, keep dropping in the table. So I see this game being a 1-1, 2-2 draw. I don't see a lot in this game, especially away from home for Chelsea.
Aston Villa heading to Newcastle. Luke went with the draw. I'm with Aston Villa here. I think this is a team that has 43 points in the table, teaming up on Newcastle that is really desperate for 3 in the Premier League, and I think they're going to have to get it here against Newcastle. Expect some late excitement here. I'm going to go 3-2. I think it's a very fun matchup in the Prem. You went with Newcastle, though, Chase, getting a home victory.
I did. I don't think Aston Villa has played that great over the last couple of weeks. They did. I mean, they had that long win streak, but ever since that streak has ended, they have not looked the best. You could see towards the end of that streak that they were just starting to get dominated in games, and they were just kind of getting lucky wins, which you need over the course of a season, but they didn't really deserve them. I think Aston Villa is going to their form has considerably dropped, and I think they're going to start losing a lot of games. I think Newcastle actually looked really good this week in the Champions League. I think Anthony Gordon and Nicholas Woltemade are actually going to put one away each respectively. I think this, like you said, this is going to be a fun game, but Newcastle will be on the front foot. Eddie Howe's side has been looking really good. I've got Newcastle this week 2-1.
Brentford hosting Nottingham Forest. I went with a draw here. You and Luke went with Brentford. I think these are just, I think for whatever reason, I think Nottingham Forest hangs in this one and steals points from Brentford, excuse me, 0-0. I think this is a completely scoreless game. I think there's just a lot of possession by Nottingham Forest, or by Brentford, with Nottingham Forest trying not to concede a goal. I just got it 0-0. What do you think about Brentford getting a win here?
Actually like Brentford in this matchup. Like you said, Forest can lock it down and play with the best of them, but Brentford's actually been able to win some of these lower table matchups. They haven't been able to compete really with the top six, but they have won these lower table matchups. I think this is going to be a 1-0 win. I think maybe Igor Thiago, he's scored a lot of goals for Brentford this season. I think he could maybe nick one late, maybe off a set piece or something like that. So I'm going 1-0 Brentford.
And we are all on Everton on the road against Leeds. Hot Not concludes our Thursday episode heading into the weekend. My hot is Paramount Plus, not because anything special about Paramount Plus, but UFC's on Paramount Plus now, which means I don't have to pay 80 effing dollars.
Whoa. You don't have to pay.
People don't have to pay 80 effing dollars to watch a pay-per-view. And I have paid before, or,
No,
websites I'm not going to name. But, Paramount Plus, dude, that's hot. My not are snow chances. Not snow, but snow chances. I wanted to see a historic snowstorm, which at one point we were projected like 34 inches of snow, which would have been elite. Would have been insane.
I would have to go buy more.
It's gone down to like 4. So it looks like it's going to be an average snow day for us here in Memphis. So my not is the snow chances. Luke, you're hot not.
My hot is the snow, and I'm going to say this. I feel like if you go look at half of my hot dots, they revolve around drinking, because I've got about 50 beers up in my room. We got UFC, college basketball. I'm getting the cuts tomorrow. It is going to be legendary. I'm hopefully not going to have to go into work on Monday or Tuesday because it's going to be icy, snowy. It's not going to melt. I'm really excited and looking forward to this potential 4-day weekend. And then my not is Kroger. And I kind of got some beef with the self-checkout line because I go to Kroger yesterday. I just have a case of beer, and I'm waiting in line. And I'm like, okay, why is this line so long? And I'm like, oh, I forgot when it snows, people in Memphis, decide it's the end of the world. I go in, I'm self-checkouting. There are 5 people with 30-plus items in the self-checkout. The self-checkout has a 15-item limit. When it goes over 15 items, you have to go get a worker to get you to fix your thingamajiggy. This lady next to me had $100-something, $200 Kroger order, and she's in self-checkout. I was not happy because I was waiting a long time in line because there were so many people with all these huge baskets at Kroger, and that is why Kroger's my not.
Chase, you're hot not.
Well, I don't know how much you guys know about Champions League. It is also on Paramount Plus, and they have this show called the Golasso Show, where they show 7 games consecutively at once. So you're just getting to see the goals from all these European matches on Tuesday and Wednesday. So I was loving it the last 2 days. It's always good to get to watch a lot of soccer where you don't have to watch the boring parts of the game. You get to see all the fun parts. So definitely shout out the Golasso Show on Paramount Plus. And then my nod is the Texas Power Grid. I don't know if y'all knew, but in 2021, we had a historic power outage here. Texas is the only state in the country that is on its own power grid and not on the national grid. And we continuously have trouble with it, especially when it gets cold. So, there's always Senator Ted Cruz here in Texas. He usually leaves anytime that there is going to be an issue with the grid, and they got videos of him this morning leaving Texas.
Yep.
So it is looking like I'm not going to have power this weekend, which will suck because we've got a lot of great sport action on, but I'm praying that the grid comes through. We're able to keep power with this historic cold front.
That concludes episode 37 of Swiss Army Sports. This has been Will, Luke, and Chase. Until Sunday, when we break down, well, actually, weather permitting, maybe Monday. We'll see. What we'll break down what happened in the NFL, college basketball, NHL, NBA, Premier League, and UFC. Until then, see y'all.